the opposite of popular. All right. I try to be popular, and I realized how impossible the task is. Because there's a lot of check boxes that you have to tick in order to become popular. And one of these check boxes is like, you have to be lucky. All right. Meaning that the Shadow Realm is for the unlucky people to figure out their identities and how to live their lives and how to embrace their values, basically. So, we could talk about popular people in a separate video because Shadow Realm is big and unexplored, basically, territory. There's potentially a lot of people there. Maybe they don't know that they're there to begin with, but I don't know. It's really hard to actually meet them on the internet because they can barely afford things. Alright? You wouldn't be able to find them that easily. But they have to be there, right? So the first question is like, God damn it. And see, the problem is that everything has balance, and potentially shadow people are not that difficult to find. Potentially, everyone I met in real life is a shadow person. If I like them. If I don't like them, they're just idiots and annoying people. But a lot of the cases are like, it feels like they're normal people because they're not toxic enough. You know, to truly embrace your shadow potential, you have to be ridiculously toxic to the rest of humanity, basically, and completely unacceptable in social norms and all that stuff, and yet still live a ridiculously satisfying life. Not necessarily be a criminal in any way. Like, I'm just trying to describe myself right now. And, because I'm pretty much the leader, and I don't see anyone around me in the Shadow Realm. I don't know how to build this community of any. I don't understand, to be honest. Why is it so empty in here? But the probably the reality is that in the Shadow Realm it's very difficult to like find friends or find each other or identify people, while the popular people just stand out immediately and it's really easy to find them. It's like, wow, okay. So there's probably some kind of deeper thing going on where uh, there's generic shadow people and there's generic popular people. All right, generic. But I still don't know. Is the best guess I have. It really is gonna phase me a long time trying to figure out the answer to this question. All right, maybe I need to touch a lot more grass and a lot more realistic grass. Technically, still locally you could like visit businesses and interact with plenty of people, and maybe you will find what you're looking for in this case. But I don't know even where to start, man. I don't even know nothing, bro. So potentially I'm just shitting around, and Shadow Realm does not exist because I'm way too unique and of a case, and I feel way too good about myself. All right. But the first thing first, obviously, the reason why I allow myself to feel so special, because it does feel special, like if you define yourself the opposite of popular, but still as good as being popular. All right. It's just defining what is so good of not being popular is pretty difficult, right? Uh, but it's like, it's like having a different kind of polarity magnet. Instead of attracting people, you are pushing people away. And it just feels weird, right? Well, that means, I'll tell you what that means. So, the reason why I allow myself to feel so special, I allow all sorts of input. Alright, the weird thing is, despite how attractive popular people are, they will not listen to shit you say. Alright? They don't give a fuck about you. You think they give a fuck? They just want to give you things that you like, get paid for it, live a good life, enslave a bunch of people to ensure themselves a good life. Alright? They'll just spend that money immediately. No problems there, the moment they get it. Or they're just gonna save it for the future. But, I mean, they don't give a fuck, bro. That's the whole point. Don't forget, regardless how attractive popular people are, they don't care. They simply don't have the capacity to care. They're very scared of saying anything controversial to begin with, so they cannot possibly start exploring difficult problems and trying to solve them, despite being popular and despite that's kind of what you're supposed to be doing. Potentially, for me, living in the Shadow Realm, I'm not allowed to care, because that seems like it's not working, but it's, it's just the thing that I have. They have the ability to not care, and I have the ability to care. They do have to take care of themselves simply because, first of all, they always do that, and they are projecting into society certain types of norms and ideologies, and they have to be very careful with that, because that's gonna maintain their popularity. If they're not moral people, they will get cancelled essentially, and that's the reason why cancel culture is still growing, I would imagine. All right, sure, will continue to grow because non-moral ideas are not acceptable. Maybe they are acceptable while the internet is still pretty young and popular people are still like a new thing to some extent. Alright? Because it is kind of weird. Like, right now, the popular stuff is popular. It's everywhere. But at the same time, it's getting more and more crowded in there. Alright? And the Shadow Realm is potentially having the best day of its life. Alright? Anyone new to the Shadow Realm, just like myself, is incredibly powerful. Now, a weird thing can also happen where everyone from the Shadow Realm become popular. Everyone popular just go to the Shadow Realm and just destroy their popularity. Just for the sake of, the ultimate trade, I would say. But before I talk about the ultimate trade, there was something I wanted to say. The reason why repelling people is good, you don't have to follow a single social norm. Alright, there's plenty of social norms and acceptable things for society. You don't have to follow none of that shit. Alright, you do have to follow morals, obviously, and law, but whatever society tells you, nah, bro. You don't have to do shit about that. you have to argue with people and actually care if they care about you, but mostly what you're going to realize is that social pressure does not exist unless someone enforces it. Alright, just like with law. Unless someone enforces, it's legal, unfortunately. Alright? And you do have to look into the future and think, okay, you can do a crime now, but you will get in trouble in the future, potentially. Especially if you brag about it. But yeah, like, it's very interesting stuff. That's the upside of repelling people. It might be obvious what the upside is of attracting people, but it's not too obvious, unfortunately. Because in order to attract people, you have to project values, but then you also have to start running away from people because they will start projecting values onto you that you just simply don't have. Because you wasted most of your time attracting people to begin with. So it's quite a mess. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, it's quite a mess. So potentially, the ultimate trade is for certain shadow people to blow up in popularity. Now, this is a funny thing, because I will not blow up in popularity anytime soon, meaning that I'm way bigger than a regular shadow person. Alright? But these are the people that blow up in popularity. They come out of nowhere and they blow up really fast. People who pretty much have mastered life and just want to say a few things really badly. Alright? And all of a sudden, maybe even popular people start noticing that shit. But technically, I think whenever a single popular person just notices a shadow person, a weird thing potentially happens. Alright, this ultimate trade happens, where a popular person kind of almost sacrifices their popularity to just blow up someone, in a sense. Maybe that's what happened with Rebecca Black? I don't know. Maybe that's what happens with every single person that blows up. Like, even like Dream potentially blew up just because of PewDiePie. And that's another way to blow up, is not necessarily to receive attention from the popular person, but attention from the fans. Because you solved a mystery of some kind. But there's so many ways to blow up, I don't even want to list all of those ways. Maybe I could list like 4. So, I'm not really understanding how PewDiePie blew up, but have you guys figured out how Mr. Beast blew up? Well, it was the homeless person event, and there was him calculating or counting to 100,000. So it's just a ridiculous shock value. It's like, you have to like really figure out what is the most shocking thing you can give to society. That society would still kind of care about, that is relevant right now and is not trending too hard. Something really shocking. But it's still, the weird part is, popular people will constantly distort your ideas of how to become popular. Because, first of all, the same thing will not work twice, no matter how hard you try. But even worse, even if you know how a person became popular, and even if you go back in time, you do not have the same capacity to become popular. Sometimes it's just everything just works out just right, and they become very lucky. All right, a shadow person becoming popular is not luck. All right, just pure skill. But a random person, a normal person becoming popular, that's just luck. All right, someone has to be popular for weird reasons. All right, society has to elect someone, and potentially, after I talked about sanity, it's a popular person is created not because people are willingly putting it into a popular category. People are literally just losing sanity and thinking that this popular person is going to bring back their sanity, is just going to work for them to some extent. It's going to be better to just lose that person, make him more attractive, but at the same time less caring for the people, and make him care about a concept that they invented basically for themselves. Because you must understand, popular people will, I could see, well, I don't know. We started with people all the time, so might as well keep it that way. So, because I used to call them kids, right? But whatever. Will very likely not change their strategy of what made them popular. So if they did something special to become popular, it's just gonna stay that way. All right. If they started singing and that was the popularity moment, they will just keep that. But usually it's a mix of things. It's more than just a singular thing that makes someone popular. But they will just keep all these values and reinvent themselves the same way over and over again. There's nothing new that's going to happen. There's nothing shocking that's going to happen beyond this point. They're not going to change themselves unless changing themselves was the move that made them popular, but it's kind of rare for that to happen. Maybe now it's not so rare, because we still don't know what's going to be the next big thing, right? Maybe it's me. But I still have to, evolve and figure out myself, and maybe I don't want to be popular. I don't know, bro, because if I'm the only person in the Shadow Realm, that's a problem. That is fucked up, dude. You have no idea. The way you have to look into the Shadow Realm, most people who run social media or create apps are in Shadow Realm. So there's people that are technically look like they're popular, but they're just running things. And they have very strict principles too. That's the whole difference. That's where I came from to begin with. That's what I learned, is to create these applications, and that's kind of what made me very, very rare. All right, it's the rarity that counts. All right, popularity and having principles is are very rare attributes. Now with things like, oh, there's so many popular people. Nah, bro. A handful. Definitely less than 1%. Probably 1 in 100,000 or something. There might be like 10. So we have 7 billion people, right? And plenty of people are trying to go into the entertainment industry and technically could be considered popular. But just because you're entertaining people That doesn't I mean, just because you exist at some point, sometime, I mean, it could just mean absolutely nothing. You just popped your head out for 2 minutes of fame to certain people, and they still don't know you. Alright, you're just a random person. So, random people on my list do not exist, and right now, my awareness of how many popular people, despite me, this is not even close. So, well, that's wrong. Technically, there's 460, and potentially 10% of these things are not necessarily popular people at all. Maybe you can see I'm aware of like 400 popular people. 400 out of how many people? Well, it doesn't matter because that's all I get to observe anyways, right? Not really. I get to write comments and enter a bunch of communities, and those places have plenty of people brewing around. There's so many strangers that I just don't consider anything whatsoever. So potentially it would be interesting number to keep track of how many people I bumped into, but nothing really happened. It would be interesting number. Do you guys want me to track this number? I don't know, bro. Because at some point I'm just being overloaded with a bunch of numbers that I'm tracking. Even my Discord has a bunch of people, and some of them did make to the list. To be fair, is just 2. Alright, and technically just 1 out of 50 who actually entered my Discord. And I still had to work for it really hard. They didn't just pop their heads out and started becoming popular. That did not happen, bro. So, I still don't have a very good indication of how rare a popular person actually is. The best video I have ever seen is Thoughty 2. He was talking about popular people on one video. Populars. And I don't see it right now. Maybe famous? Dirty secret celebrity used to get famous. Probably this video, but we have to double check. It probably would be interesting to check it out. Again, when you're trying to understand the Shadow Realm, it's kind of the opposite of being popular. But at the same time, it is very interesting, the popular world, the realm of people who technically seemingly are popular, they have following and everything, but they literally have no influence whatsoever. Despite being popular, despite being ridiculously rare, they just literally have no influence. Alright. And I calculate influence, and it's so much more complicated than you think to actually do that. Because, I have a limited amount of perspective, so I could have plenty of biases, but slowly my biases is like, wait, I'm the greatest shadow person ever. I literally define what reality is. Like, it's some crazy shit, bro. Despite how powerful you think popular people are? If they don't have influence, shadow people will undefine them anytime. Alright, you just make a shadow person really angry. It's like, oh, you're trying to be influential? Nope. Check tester now. I'm sorry. Better luck next time. Alright. So, the moment... This is what popular people are very, very scared of. Alright, because shadow people can do the same thing as popular people can do to the shadow people. The ultimate trade can go both ways. Alright? The ultimate trade goes both ways. Sometimes shadow person gets offended. And that's some real offense. Alright, if a shadow person gets offended, because they tolerate everything, it doesn't fucking matter for them, because they're toxic. But if a shadow person, a toxic person gets offended, holy crappies, man. The popular person that caused the mess to begin with, once you figure out who's to blame, they're done, man. Their reputation, just gone. They're just gonna disappear out of existence, man. And you're gonna be like, what happened to this guy? I just barely remember this guy. What happened? Just completely undefined, went to the shadow realm. And because they were popular, their attempts to being popular again will be completely pointless, right? It's just hopeless. It's almost like they're a convicted criminal and nobody trusts them anymore. That's what would happen, alright? These things are very rare right now because sanity is rare because we're just in a playground, alright? And some people are winners and some people are losers. Some people are Shadow Realm, stuck in Shadow Realm. Some people are stuck in popularity. It's just a weird mess, basically. That is, very much challenging humanity right now, because this is some intense stuff. Alright, and this is kind of my perspective from where I am, which generation I belong. Maybe the higher generations live a completely different life, and technically they do, they have to. So I'm just talking about, the kind of millennial-ish generation, from 18 years old, maybe more like 20 years old to 35, something like that. I do imagine generation is like 15 years. Age difference. So you pick your poison. I'm not sure exactly, but I think 15 years is pretty solid number for a generation. Anyways, how far are we? Half an hour. All right. Is there anything else? Well, the weirdest thing is whatever happened to Ukraine, dude. What the hell happened? Because, before war, Ukraine probably didn't even existed. So, everyone kind of knows what Russia is, and war was able to make Ukraine popular again. So it's like, it's a win-lose situation. It's a trade. It's the ultimate trade, basically. Now, Russia is ridiculously unpopular. Alright? They're still famously infamous and whatever, but to some extent, potentially people are just like erasing Russia from their memories, basically. They don't even want to know what this thing is anymore. And they barely know Russia culture in general, but right now it's probably like being under attack by a bunch of shadow people, just like, oh, you guys don't really don't really should exist. And I will actually join in on the fight and on the fun, because it matters. You know, like, if you're attacking an entire country, you're not doing it to kind of defame people. You're just there to extract famous people who need to be saved, right? I will eventually take a look at Russia's culture to extract useful people. And I will successfully do that because I define reality, unfortunately. People don't want to accept that I define reality. That's fine. That would make me popular. But they don't know how much they truly accept. They just don't know, man. Even if they pick up a ditsy bitsy tiny crystal out of my collection of things, man. The cave of crystals. If they just enter the cave and they take a ditsy bitsy crystal, they have entered the goddamn fucking cave. They got the vibe. They know how much stuff is in there. And when someone asks them where you get that tiny crystal from, the whole, you know, first of all, the idea that such cave does not exist, such things do not exist, already starts shattering apart. So, the most important value to have as a shadow person is constantly give values. Anyone should be able to enter the dark cave, but they must come out, they must not come out empty-handed. Alright, if you are able as a shadow person to put something into their hands, like it's the most craziest skill of all time, you're like literally living in darkness to begin with, but you're capable of defining a person who's searching for something, and you're capable of just putting something into their hands. It's not going to be exactly what they're searching for, because you're a fucking toxic person to begin with, and you're not going to give them anything valuable necessarily, but you're just going to, you know there's plenty of value to give, so you just give something that, fits the bill, basically. Whatever they give to the cave, the cave gives back. So just you put it into their hands is like, well, you can go now, because you're gonna die here. You're literally gonna die. Suffocate, lose your mind, basically, all these things. So you have to also scare the shit out of the person who's trying to take more valuables out of you. Alright, just as self-defense. And you need a lot of self-defense from the greed that people will naturally test. Everyone's ready to push their greed button, and it's like, alright, I want to take all the stuff. Alright, I got something valuable. I got myself into the cave. I deserve a lot more stuff. So, but then you start giving things that are not valuable, that are very, very bad, basically. And then they understand, oh, the cave actually has consciousness and is aware of every single move that I make. Alright, and if I make a bad move, the cave will not reward me anymore. Alright? And basically, what is happening is someone comes into the cave, they have a certain amount of sanity, they trade that sanity away, and they probably run away from the cave because they just don't have anything to offer anymore. And the sanity that they have been collecting for years, man. Which is the funniest thing. It's so funny to look at. And so you meet a lot of people who have little sanity to offer, but they collected for years, which they collected for years. How do I squeeze this thing? People come. Let's put it that way. Very little sanity to offer, because you can spend sanity left and right until you actually enter the cave. That's probably the most evoke experience you can have. You can enter a cave, or the greatest awakening. You can enter a cave and be like, wait, sanity is actually valuable? Oh, that's crazy. I thought I want to lose all sanity to become popular. Oh, it's actually valuable. Oh, everything I do actually matters in life. So, potentially just bumping into me, just knowing that I exist, that my channel exists, and all these things, just changes people's lives beyond my wildest understanding, basically. Alright, because you have to compare a person to itself and see how much they have changed over time. And it's probably gonna be some crazy things that people come back with. Alright? So the first expectation that you have to have as a shadow person is to understand that a person comes in after years and years, they have some sanity within them, you take that immediately, like really quickly, you're gonna take that and they're gonna be like, wait, I'm scared now. Okay, I have to go. But then you're like, oh, I found something. And slowly, like, it will take also years and years, almost the same amount of years, basically, that it took for them to collect sanity, for them to realize, wait, what would happen if I came back to the cave? And I think that would be the actual realization, the actual awakening moment. So the first awakening moment is to awaken within that you got lucky and you got rewarded for the things that you did in life. The ultimate judgment, basically. And the second awakening is realizing that you can come back to the cave whenever the fuck you want. And if you come back again, it's actually going to be easier to see and get things you actually want, not just to receive a trade for your sanity, but you literally get to pick and choose whatever the fuck you want out of life. It puts me in a serious problematic spot, which requires me to connect to other shadow people if possible. So I'm scared, man. I'm scared of my own cave and how it works. But right now, because I feel like a leader in this situation, and no one really challenged me in this competition, I feel pretty good about myself. Maybe I can just stand on my own and not worry about anything, because I have no real offers. And the cave is a cave. It's like, where do I go from a cave? A normal person literally has to decide, oh wait, I have enough sanity to buy the cave master, and show him the real world or something. Some stupid thing like that. Or show him other caves, basically. So I kind of need to meet a cave explorer or something. Some weird shit, bro. But maybe, potentially, I'm looking at it in a wrong way, but why? Why would this be wrong? I don't know, bro. Potentially, cave explorer to show me more caves so I can connect to other shadow people, basically, and exchange values with them. And the exchange would probably be a lot more straightforward. It's like, what do you need, bro? What things do you do? All right, here's this, and that I don't need. Give me stuff that you don't need. We just exchange, see how it works out, and move along, basically. Move on with our lives, and we just keep bumping into each other. I don't know how it works exactly. But potentially everyone who creates a Discord creates a cave, and someone is the cave master, basically. Like all kinds. It's so crazy to think about it that way. Potentially, a lot of popular people have a shadow version of themselves. So every single popular person should have some kind of special follower, let's put it that way, that is completely different from a regular follower, that is capable actually of putting in the effort and protecting the popular person to some extent, or is caring. So when I'm saying this, I'm thinking about this little creature right here, the Ico, the person from Antvenom's Discord, that is kind of protective of Antvenom to some extent, and I'm kind of realizing that, and it was kind of cool, you know, to see the power level of another shadow person, if that's what's going on. Also, I featured Onision's protector, alright, that didn't really, these people don't really define themselves as like, oh, I'm definitely protecting that person, but because I found them that way, they define themselves basically, unfortunately, alright? It's very unfortunate for them that they're defined that way, but you made your choices, alright? You found your home, basically, and I got you that way. There's nothing I can do about it. So, as you can see, I was able to find some shadow people, but still not my league, basically. Not even close to my level, basically. Or I just don't understand them, but I genuinely believe that's not necessarily the case. Because I should be, like, impressed. They have to put in, like, original work out there. Alright, and they could be still young, and also, these are girls, maybe they operate in a completely different way entirely. I don't know, bro. I do not know. I would like to calculate their influence, but because they're not popular people, it's completely different, maybe? I don't know that either. Alright? Because technically, like, the influence level should define them both equally. Popular people and shadow people should be equally defined. Alright? And if you go to the cave too many times, you essentially become a shadow person yourself. You get addicted. Alright? Because you start realizing that there's a lot of things in the cave that are valuable to you, but nobody wants to do anything with. Alright? You realize that you becoming so repulsive yourself with all the things that you're obsessed with, they're ridiculously valuable in general, but people just don't see it that way. And it's just a very painful experience. But if you get addicted to that as well, you found your home, I guess. Congratulations. So this shit is, like, deep, man. As you can tell, this is pretty deep. And I'm not sure what the next hour is gonna bring, but we're already, like... this is what I wanted to express and explore, because this is some crazy shit. I still am like a fringe case of a shadow person because I'm still kind of young, but still I also am powerful enough and influential enough to understand how all of this thing works and just establish myself as one of the best in this category. All right. And again, anyone can make my little cave popular, and all of a sudden I'm a completely different person than a typical popular person. Because a popular person doesn't usually have values whatsoever or ability to express like genuine influence. Most people have to stay relevant that way in order they have to show values of some kind, but potentially they actually show values that they have extracted using someone else's effort. Again, you must understand there's a lot of people working around a popular person and depending on their influence onto the world to extract money, basically. In other words, extract another form of sanity. All right. For me, I don't expect people to give me money ever. But there's two main forms of sanity: money and experience. So I take all the experience, and potentially people feel like liberated, so they just start forgetting things and just moving on with their lives. And they like achieve wings, special kind of status in life. It's like, whoa, I never really got this experience, so this is much better experience than whatever I just gave to the cave. And now I'm gonna get to live with this experience instead. That's what kind of happens. There's kind of the exchange of experience, or like you enter the cave, you tell what your experience of life is, and you get like a tiny crystal that pretty much like encapsulate everything that you have experienced, and it's like, oh, I know exactly what kind of person you are. Here you go. Here's that tiny crystal thingy. Also, shut the fuck up, asshole. I hate you. I have to, remain toxic, because they will start taking other people's crystals, potentially. So I have to stop that. But yeah, it's fascinating stuff. So, while popular people will try and suck up your money, obviously, as much as possible, if they're immoral, but they'll take, what they deserve if they are moral, and they kind of deserve a lot, technically. They shake the world, or shape the world, but I get to define what the world is and how reality works. You only get to shape it as they move around, It's like, oh, I'll track this thing, and I'll track this thing, poof, poof. But I get to define what those things are. So popular people actually don't have as much control over reality as they think. It's just they have ability to go wherever they want and do whatever they want. And when they enter the cave, they can just highlight, oh, there's a cave here. And they just move on with their lives. They don't even give a fuck about the cave. They just hope that they will employ enough people to mine the cave. And that's the scary experience, okay? The ultimate trade is when a popular person leaves a permanent light in the cave. Alright. Just straight up permanent light. So something weird can happen, right? First of all, I can be killed, and that would potentially leave a permanent light of some kind. But there's other ways to do it, obviously. Obviously, moment of silence, because it fucking hurts to think about getting killed in one way or the other. There's many, many bad ways to get trapped in the system and extorted, basically. And eventually people will realize, oh, there's a cave. And that's kind of what was happening with my friends. Like, my friends kind of realized, oh, I was missing somehow. And they realized, oh, I need to explore this area no matter what. All right? Because it's almost like there's some kind of light left behind the moment you kind of leave the cave. The cave monster is gone, so it's like there's no one scared to explore it anymore. It's so weird. It's quite fascinating. I would have to tell you that much. Because I didn't even like expect people to start talking to each other all of a sudden and exploring my Discord to some extent or my content. They were more willing to do that than when I was here and aware of every single move that they're trying to make. So that's kind of interesting, right? And it still pisses me off that every single move I make creates darkness and not light, creates repulsive behavior and not being attracted to me, and it's so annoying. But the reason why this happens, all right, the best reason I can say why shadows are repulsive, we are ridiculously powerful. Like, beyond your understanding. So if you fucking anger the shadows, the shadow people, I mean, your life is pretty much fucking ruined at that point. Alright, brick by brick. Just like Enderman just gonna start ripping apart your world, basically. Wherever you live, whatever you do, just a bunch of Endermen start plucking out block after block. Because it's the end, bro. It's the end. You don't get to live your life anymore. You just got undefined. You just got an enemy for the rest of your life. Alright? So if you make a single wrong move that is considered incredibly immoral in the cave, you're toast. I'm sorry, bro. You're not gonna live a normal life anymore. You're gonna live an insanity life or a dead person's life. You're gonna feel dead all the time. In that case, you're gonna feel unsafe and dead. I mean, it's very, very scary stuff. All right. So everyone is scared of shadow people because they can make you feel dead. That's how crazy it is. Alright? Very, very scary stuff. So that's that. I want to take a break. Maybe once we hit hour number 2. This is like ridiculously exciting, and every time I feel something, I have to talk about it because that's the only way I can explore concepts like this. And it's just, what the hell is this shit, bro? This is some next level insanity. I mean, I can barely believe this stuff, but that's what it takes. Like, you have to figure out your identity and embrace it, and then you realize, wow, those are the values that I have. Let's keep going. Let's keep pushing forward, because then you start getting passionate about stuff like this, and it just never really ends. And again, I've never really found a person as ridiculous as myself, and it still should be pretty difficult to find someone like myself anyways, so there's still hope. Plenty of hope, too. It's just, it really, really feels that I'm the